Hello everybody, my name is Parnasha Gupta and I am a consultant clinical psychologist and founder director of Jeevsutra Private Limited. Today I am going to talk about a very important topic, and the topic is how to keep our children busy and engaged and happy during the lockdown period. I am going to divide today's lecture into two different parts. In the first part, I will be dealing about the various techniques that can be used by parents to keep their children engaged at home. And in the second part, I will be dealing with how to keep them mentally happy. In this lockdown, it is a very difficult time for all of us, for adults as well as children. And during the lockdown, the routine of the children are broken the most. They are not going to school, they have to attend online classes, they are not meeting their friends, they are not going out to play. Their extracurricular activities are also mostly done through online classes, which is very difficult for the parents as well as for the children. So the first point, which is very important and which everybody must keep in mind, is that we have to construct a routine for our children. We have to construct a proper routine where whatever activities are planned out throughout the day will be structured in a very constructive manner. So when it comes to building a routine, let me give you certain pointers. What happens in most of the cases is that people build a routine, but children are not able to follow that routine. Or something or the other happens and the routine gets broken. And after a day or two, most people feel that, oh, the routine is not working, so it is no use. And we just leave it as it is. When we are constructing a routine, we have to keep in mind that we are constructing the routine for the children. So we have to bring the children into the meeting, into the discussion when we are making the routine for them. Early morning, whenever the child wakes up. So usually in school days, in school time, the children used to wake up earlier. But now the trend in most of the families is that children are waking up slightly later. However, I would say that waking up early in the morning is very important for children as well as adults, because that is the time when most of us are very energetic and we get the most amount of positive energy from our environment. So fix a particular time of waking up. It doesn't matter whether the child has online class that day or not. The routine should be fixed and there should be a particular time of waking up. So after the child wakes up, give your child a little bit of time to freshen up, to complete the early morning activities of going to the washroom and the other activities that are involved, like taking breakfast and everything. And as soon as that is done, make your child sit for studies, because the first activity that we do every day, it is very important in shaping our psyche, right? So make your child sit for studies. If your child has tuition or if the child has online classes, that is a different thing. But even on days when there are no tuitions or no online classes, no school, the child has to study a little bit after waking up. It doesn't matter that the time is very short or very long. What is most important is the child needs to sit for studies. Now, what kind of studies can be done early in the morning? This is the time when most children feel sleepy. So we must give them some activities which will engage them, some kind of subjects which will engage them more. For example, we might make them solve sums, mathematics, or we might make them practice some map pointing or even some drawings before they start with the main studies. Okay, so once they are fully engaged and fully involved in the activities, then slowly we will start including the other subjects in their routine. Okay, so first, after they complete their studies, we will give them a short break. Now, it is a very important thing we have to keep in mind. Many children and many guardians ask me that what is the ideal time duration for studies. I would say that every child needs to be given a break after every 30 minutes, because our brain is just like a computer, We have a working memory which is similar to the random access memory or the RAM present in a computer. So whenever we are making our child study for a long time, after about 17 minutes or even 30 minutes for some children, they start losing their attention and they start getting very bogged down by whatever they have covered in the last half an hour. So it is very important to give them a break every 30 minutes. Now, how long should this break be and what should the activities be during the break? The break should be such that it does not involve more than 2 to 5 minutes. So the children can go to the washroom, they can drink some water, they can eat something, or even they can chat with their parents or their mother or their siblings for 2 to 5 minutes. But they shouldn't engage in something which is very heavy or which grabs their attention a bit too much, like watching TV or playing games on the mobile phone. These are activities which will grab their attention so much and they will not want to come back to studies after that. The second thing is, once they come back from the break, again we have to pull their attention back to the studies. So how can that be done? That can be done by asking your child to look at the book, touch the book, open the pages, look at the heading of the chapter, and then start studying. So by spending few seconds on these activities of touching the book and looking at the book and reading out the heading or reading out the name of the chapter, we are engaging different sense organs of the child. When the child is touching the book, we are using the sense of touch. When the child is looking at the book, we are visually engaging the child. Now when the child is opening the book and flipping through the pages, there is some noise that is getting created. And when the child is reading out the chapter aloud, that is also engaging the auditory sense. So once this is done, the child will be fully focused on the topic and the child can start studying. I always ask parents or guardians to be aware about what the child is studying and not simply asking the child, read out aloud, I can't hear you. Not all children are auditory learners, and some children even find it very difficult to read it out aloud and understand the topic at the same time. For some children it really becomes very tiring and they have a difficulty in trying to understand the topic. Many children, not all of them, many children find it very difficult to understand the topic when they are reading out aloud. So we have to understand what is the type of learning style of the child. So I will come into this topic later. So let me first discuss in detail about how the routine must be constructed. So when the child has finished studying, when that subject is over or when another half an hour is spent on this topic, again give a short break and you can give your child a break. Or if there are classes, online classes or tuition classes, the child can attend those classes. Now, another very important thing which all parents must keep in mind is that the routine must be constructed in such a manner that activities which the child doesn't like to do should come first and then the entertainment activities must come. However, we at times make this mistake of first making the child play or watch TV or play games on the mobile phone, and then we tell them, okay, now come to study. This is absolutely wrong. Why this is wrong? We have to understand the logic behind this. We have to understand the Premack Principle. Suppose there is an activity A. Now what is activity A? Activity A is any activity which is not liked by a person or by a child. Let's take studies for example. Most children, they do not like studies, right? There are only a few children who would say that no, I like studying, but most of the children I come across, most of them say that they do not like studies. So let's consider studying. Studying is an activity for which the child is not very interested. The child doesn't willingly start studying. Okay, and then there is an activity B. For example, let's say that it is watching TV, watching their favorite cartoon or watching their favorite program on TV, or even playing games on the mobile phone for many children. Now, the child doesn't want to do activity A, but the child is very interested in doing activity B. So, if I make a routine in such a manner that every day activity A is done first and then, only then, the child can be engaged in activity B. If every day this same routine is followed, A followed by B, disliked activity is followed by liked activity, then after a while, the child's brain gets conditioned, and after a while the tendency of studying increases more in the child. Why it increases more in the child? Because ultimately a habit gets formed in the child, and he or she knows that only after I complete my studies I will get some free time and I can watch some TV, or I can play games on my mobile phone or on the computer. So the routine should be constructed in this manner. Now, even in the evening when we are asking our children to study, we must remember this Premack principle. We must first ask them to sit for studies, and only if they finish their studies can they engage in activities which are liked by them. So now let me come to point number 2. In this point, I am going to discuss something which many children in India do not get, and that is a personal space. We must create a space in our homes, that is a personal space for your child. It does not matter if your child is 5 years old or if your child is, say, 15 years old. Everybody needs to have their personal space. Now, a personal space can be a full room, a personal space can be a corner of a room. Does not matter how big your house is. Even if your house is very small, try to create a small area, a small corner inside your homes that belongs to your child. Now, what are the things that will be put in this space? This space will have all the favorite toys of the child, all the favorite books of the child, whatever the child likes doing, all the activities. For example, if your child is very interested in crafts, so the crafting materials will also be kept in the space. So try to create a space for your child where in the entertainment periods within the routine, the child can stay inside his or her space and can engage in the activity the child is very interested in doing. The children can read their favorite books, they can listen to their favorite music, they can even play their favorite games within the space. So creating this space will have 2 added advantages. The first advantage is that the child knows that this is my space, and they develop a sense of responsibility and they feel empowered to have their own space. The second thing is, when all the toys and all the books and everything are restricted to that area, it solves your problem of trying to keep on arranging your home and trying to sort out toys or trying to arrange the books throughout the day. So all the books, all the toys and everything are within this space. So everything will remain in that space and will not make a clutter throughout your home. So on one hand, it will be a very empowering experience for them. On the other hand, it will be very easier on your part to manage the things that belong to your child. Give different responsibilities to your child. For example, you can ask your child to arrange the table when everybody sits down for lunch, or you can even ask your child to fill up the water bottles. Give responsibilities to your child. Make your child participate in everyday household activities. So participating in everyday household activities have a lot of benefits. Whenever your child is participating in household activities, your child is learning to perform those household activities. For example, if you are asking your child to clear the table during lunch, the child knows how much pain and effort goes into this, and that is also very beneficial. Everybody must learn household tasks so that they never have to depend on anybody else throughout their life. So this is one benefit. The second benefit is your children will be busy. throughout the day. Otherwise, children tend to get bored very easily. Their attention span is low and children tend to get bored. So whenever we are asking them to participate in household activities, that becomes a bonding exercise also with their parents or with other family members, and the children also remain engaged for quite some time whenever that activity is being done. So what are the household activities that children can participate in? One is they have to do their own tasks, like arranging their own rooms, clearing their own bed after waking up, taking bath on their own, arranging their own dresses, arranging their own toys and things and books and even school books and tuition books and everything. The children can also, get involved in activities which relate to the kitchen. We can teach them heatless cooking, and if your child is slightly elder, for example, if your child is above class 5 or 6, I would definitely ask you to teach your children how to cook. It is a very important brain developmental exercise. What other parts of the brain, or rather what other functions of the brain that get developed when children are involved in kitchen activities? Let me mention them one by one. So, for example, your child has decided that I will make a cake today. Okay? So what are the processes that are involved while making a cake? First is all the raw material, all the ingredients that will go into the cake have to be arranged. So your child is learning the skill of organizing things, of organizing tasks. Then the steps are being followed one after the other, and the recipe is followed very properly. So when somebody follows a recipe very properly, measuring out how many spoons or how many pieces or how many things go into the dish, the child has to focus on that activity, which builds up their attention and concentration. Now, step by step, when the child is making the cake and when the cake is finally done and the child presents it to everybody and everybody likes the cake, so the child's self-esteem gets a boost and the child feels that yes, I have done a great job. Okay, so various things, not just cake, any kind of activities, which involve cutting and slicing and peeling, or children can do those activities, or even mixing the flour and creating the dough for rotis. That is also something which children can do very easily, and very young children can also do this. Okay, the earlier we teach children, the more empowered we make them. The earlier we teach children to take part in household activities, the better is their mental health in the long run. Okay, so remember this. The fourth point, which is very important again, is teaching our children new skills. You see, this is such a nice time. We usually don't get to spend so much time with our children, but during the lockdown we are getting a lot of time with our children, so we can teach them new activities. Like in my previous point, I was talking about teaching them kitchen activities and household activities. Many other things can be taught to our children. A child can learn some foreign language, a child can learn how to play any musical instrument, a child can learn any new skill which can come in handy later in life. It can be something which is extracurricular, or there are even places which offer online robotics classes and online coding classes and brain development, attention training classes. So make your child learn new things, make your child practice those new skills which will come in use later in life also. So you can search for different online classes. You can just go to Google and you can look for various online classes, and you can ask your child what are the kind of activities that he or she likes doing or wants to do, and teach them new things. As a continuation to my previous point of teaching your child new things, I would say that it is very important to teach your children how to stitch, because I have seen many adults who discard their shirts just because a button is missing. So it is very important to learn how to stitch. Okay, so along with stitching there can be other crafts also which your child can do. Different kinds of crafts, different kinds of painting, different kinds of things which can be made by our hands, like I would say even woodwork or carpentry. Okay, or even cross stitch or making other kinds of things, DIY things. You can get a lot of videos over the internet. You can ask your child to watch the videos and create those things at home with the objects or the scraps that are already present at home. Okay, you can also help your child when the child is doing the tasks or making these crafts. So it can be a very big, bonding exercise for you as well as your child. Try to be very creative. You try to be very creative, and ultimately through these tasks your child creativity will also be boosted. Okay, so remember, in your routine, the routine I was asking to prepare, in this routine have a little bit of time, say half an hour to 1 hour time, which will be dedicated to creating crafts and creating things, creative activities. Not just crafts, creative activities can be like writing a song or writing a poetry or even writing a story. Okay, your child can make jingles, make new tunes. Completely depends on the interest area of your child. In my clinic, many children come who are very interested in writing stories. They write beautiful stories. Some of them even make comics and cartoons. Try to find out what is the thing that your child likes doing, what is the skill that your child likes doing, and try to make your child be involved in different kinds of creative activities. Get them, different kinds of raw materials which they can use while building their tasks, building their crafts. Many children can use even parts of broken toys to create new toys. Okay, so you also be involved in this. You will also have a good time, and so will your children. Remember, when you were children, we did not have TVs or mobile phones when we were children. What did we do? We used to spend a lot of time playing with our siblings or playing with our other family members. Remember, right? We used to have, carom boards at home. We used to have different board games at home. We used to play cards. We used to chat with family members. We used to listen to stories from our elders. We used to listen to their life experiences, which have, been very good bonding exercises for us in the past. Now you can do the same right now. Keep a time where all of your family members, you come together, have dinner together or have lunch together, and sit and chat, sit and talk, sit and play games together. Listen to what your child has to say. They have many things they like to share. Listen to them. But most of the time what happens is we are so very engaged in our own lives. We are so very busy nowadays. We hardly have time for our children, which is very bad, You have to listen to them. You have to listen to the things they have to share, listen to their problems, listen to what is happening in their life. Only then can you be very attuned to their wavelength. Only then can they come up to you when they are really going through a tough time in their life. We always keep saying that there is a generation gap and generation gap. The generation gap is all over here. If you can be involved with your child, involved in a very positive way, in a very friendly manner, the generation gap honestly will not exist. Try to put yourself in your child's shoes instead of comparing about how good we were and how naughty they are. Okay? Also, when I'm talking about comparing, never ever compare your child with their class's first boy or the first girl, or some child who's very good in studies in their tuition or even in the neighborhood. Never compare them with their own siblings. Comparison is a horrible experience. Just imagine you are being compared with the lady who lives next door, or to the big business tycoon who lives in your city. It creates a very horrible experience. It is a very humiliating experience. So why would you do that to your child? Never compare them. And if comparing, sometimes different guardians tell me that no, I try to compare them so that my child gets a push to do better. Trust me, comparison never pushes anybody. It just demotivates the person even more. And whom do you think that we follow more? Do we follow somebody we like, or do we try to follow somebody whom we don't like? So what does constant comparison do? Suppose I am being compared to the girl who lives next door. Day in and day out, I will slowly start developing negative feelings towards that person. And there will be a time when I will start hating that person. And I will definitely not want to be anything like that person. So comparison is basically of no use. It does more harm than good. Okay? So remember, spend quality family time with your children. Listen to them, chat with them, tell them stories of the past, tell them stories of their ancestors. Play with them. Different kinds of board games, different kinds of games which involve a paper and pen, or just, sit with them and chat with them. Or even if you're feeling very tired, sit with them and watch TV with them. So they will be very excited in sharing what is happening. For example, younger children, they become very excited when they can share what is happening in their cartoon with their parents. They are very excited and they keep telling, mom, this guy is a bad guy, and this boy is trying to save the town or something. So sit with your children when they are watching TV, okay, and discuss with them that what is this, what is happening. Ask them questions. Only when you ask questions will they come up with answers, and only then can they learn how to answer appropriately in social situations. Okay, so spending quality family time serves many purposes. Outdoor games. Right now, not really possible. However, if you have a terrace, or even a passage in front of your homes, or even a small garden, or even a park which remains empty, take your child there. Let them play a little bit. Because children develop the most when they play. Play is a very important activity. Just don't make your child sit and study and watch TV, and just sit and study and watch TV day in and day out. They need to stretch their hands, stretch their legs. They need some physical activity. Help them play. Give them some space where they can play. Some place where they can run, some place where they can throw balls. So if you have a terrace, take them there. Supervise. You can always be there when they play, or ask some elder child to just supervise when they are there. Okay? So if there is a park near your home or some open space, help your children to find the time to go there and play. Play is very important, and exercise is also very important. So ask them to play, ask them to run. Now, if there is no space which can be found right now during the COVID situation, if they cannot go out, then I would say that they should be engaged in some kind of physical activity. Either it can be dancing, or it can be skipping or jumping, or even martial arts. So get them enrolled in classes where they can have fun and learn dancing, or some kind of yoga, or even martial arts. Okay, the best thing is that if you can give them a chance to play somewhere, but in case they have no option of going outside, outdoor activities cannot be involved in their routine, so make them learn something which involves their whole body, some kind of physical training or physical activity. Okay, in the routine, have a little bit of time which is reading time for your child. In the reading time, the child has to read any book which is not a textbook. So it can be an encyclopedia, it can be a storybook, it can be anything. It can be a book of poetry as well, or even it can be newspaper. However, I would suggest that it is a storybook, or some encyclopedia kind of something. The child can choose the language, or you can choose the language for your child. For example, You can ask the child to read an English book and then give a Bengali or Hindi, whatever is the second language, you can give a book of that language. So reading different books of different languages also boosts the vocabulary of the child in that particular language. So reading is a very important skill. Reading is a very important skill and a very important task, because throughout our life we learn a lot of things from storybooks which can help us somewhere or the other in our life. When your children will grow up and they have to attend some interview in some company or somewhere, they will be asked about their extracurricular activities or what other activities they like doing. So if they have a habit of reading, they can answer very well in the interviews. So get your children, come into this habit of reading, make them read every day, make them read at least for half an hour every day. So reading can be done in two ways. One is, if your child is slightly elder, ask your child to read on his or her own. But if your child is small, you read out something from a storybook to your child every day. Okay, so how much will the child read, or how much will you read out to the child? It has to be minimum one chapter, minimum one chapter, or even for very young children it has to be the book. So the more the better. Now there has to be a balance. Some children, they are so involved in their storybooks that they spend the entire day just reading the storybook. Now that is also not a very good thing. You have to keep the proper balance. But at least half an hour to 1 hour of our daily activities, the child must spend time in reading books, storybooks, newspapers, encyclopedias, magazines, or anything. Okay? If you have pets at home, a dog, a cat, or even fish in the aquarium, ask your children to take responsibility of the pet. Or even if you have plants at home, ask your children to take responsibility of some plants. What you can do is, you can gift a pet to your child, or you can gift a plant to your child, and the pet's responsibility or the plant's responsibility will be completely on your child. Now the child will be very happy about this. They really love this. They really love taking care of others, because all of us, we have this ability of nurturing, the ability of taking care of somebody else. So when the child is taking care of this particular plant, write the child's name on the pot of the plant, and the child has to water it regularly, take care of it regularly, take care of or the pet. The child has to feed the pet regularly, brush its coat, or if it's fish in the aquarium, the child has to be involved in changing the water of the aquarium. Now you always have to be involved in these activities, but try to display in front of your children that it is their main responsibility. You are just helping the child, but the main responsibility belongs to the child. Okay, so this is a very good practice, asking your children take care of pets, or asking your children take care of plants. It is very good for brain development. It is very good for emotional IQ development, or the emotional quotient. Okay, it is extremely good for the development of EQ, or the emotional quotient of the children. Okay, from different online platforms you can order different type of toys for your child. Toys like mechanics, and toys where children actually use tools to create something. Children must learn how to use tools. That is a very important life skill training. Now if they learn how to use tools, they can spend a lot of time trying to experiment, using the wrench and using the wire cutters, and so many things there are to be learned. So when the child engages in such activities, it is very good for brain development, it is very good for eye-hand coordination, it is very good for logical reasoning. Okay, ask your child to explore the environment and find out what are the things that can be constructed using different kinds of tools. For example, what are the kinds of tools that we can ask a child to play with? We can ask them to use wrenches, we can ask them to use pliers, we can ask them to use tweezers, we can ask them to use scissors, we can ask them to even use the needle. Okay, so different kinds of tools are available everywhere, or we can buy boxed sets of toys or games which can be ordered from any online platform. So if you feel that no, you have sufficient tools at home, ask your children to learn how to use the tools, show them how to learn how to use the tools. Many children find it very interesting to create small houses made of ice cream sticks or even small pieces of wood. Many children find it very interesting to learn how motors work. There are different kinds of motors. You can buy it from the local market. So different types of motors can be used. So many things can be done. A wheel can be set to a particular motor to make a rotating wheel or a car or something. All kinds of tutorials are available online. So just refer to the tutorials and ask your children just to explore their own creativity and explore their own ideas. Okay, you will have a lot of fun along with them. They will definitely enjoy their time, and you will also enjoy your time when you are involved in these kind of activities with your child. I was mentioning about the different learning styles of children. Some children are auditory learners, some children are visual learners. While some children, they like it if the entire teaching medium is very audio-visual. So there is one technique which I teach all children that come to me for counseling. That is, you can type the keywords of any topic in YouTube and you will get a lot of training material, lot of videos. So for example, if a child is studying history and the child is reading about the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So just write about Jallianwala Bagh massacre in YouTube and you can get several documentaries and several videos which describe the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Or for example, if the child is studying science or physics, for example, if the child is studying gravity, just write the topics in YouTube and you can get a lot of videos. Many videos are animated videos which are very fun to watch. The child will be very involved and very engaged in this kind of learning because now most of the things are coming online. Most of the things, even the education classes are being held online, and all the other entertainments, they are all through screens nowadays. So if we try to teach our children just through books, they will definitely not like it. It is very boring for them. Think about it. But if we ask them to study from YouTube, that is much more interesting. Okay, so it is, it is a situation when we have to adapt along with the changing times. So change your own mindset. Education just does not need to happen through books. It can happen from different sources. It can happen from different places. Try to integrate YouTube and other online platforms into your child's education. There are lots of free material which are available everywhere. Look into them. Now, don't give open internet access to your children. Now, this is a very important thing. First, you look into the videos that you will save or download for your child, or copy the links, and then you ask your child to look into the videos, because unrestricted internet access is not a very good thing till your child learns how to use the internet responsibly. There is another very interesting idea, which I can share with you, and that is learning about new places or new countries. Now, how can that be done? You can use Google Maps for this purpose. For example, if we want to learn about the United Kingdom, we can type United Kingdom in Google Maps. It will give us the image of the United Kingdom, and then we can scroll some more and go deeper and go more into the places, the important cities that are present in the United Kingdom. For example, we can visit London, and your child can actually look at the buildings and the trees and the cars, and there are options of visiting it from a 3D angle. It will be fun. And now, along with exploring the city or exploring the place through Google Maps, you can also take the help of YouTube and see some videos about that place and learn some more about that place. So in different days of the week, select a country or select a particular place, and then along with your child, you also visit the place. So it will be like traveling somewhere without actually going anywhere. You can just stay in the comfort of your homes, and you can survey the entire world. Not just the entire world, you can even learn a lot about the universe from the internet. So the internet is a very important tool. It is just like fire. If we can use it properly, it is a great help to us. But if we if it goes out of control, then it can be very devastating. So I always tell parents, never give unrestricted internet access to your children. You be involved in the activities, and you show the way of how the internet can be used very responsibly, how the internet can be used very responsibly, and how we can have a lot of fun and we can learn a lot using the internet. So learn about new countries, learn about new places. Another very good idea is to create an idea box. Now, how can that be done? Sit with your children and ask them about various ideas. They can only tell you what are the activities that will keep them engaged and that will keep them busy in the lockdown period. Ask them about what are the things that they think that the children can do to keep themselves engaged. So create an idea box. Now it can be something like a lottery. Whenever the child is feeling bored, you can ask the child to just pick out a small piece of paper from the idea box and read out what activity is mentioned there, and the child can go and do that activity. For example, if the child has picked up go and make crafts, the child can go and make some craft at that time. So creating the idea box, you can also contribute your own ideas. Go into the internet, Google some very interesting activities and put it all in the idea box. So whenever the children get bored, they can bring out activities from the idea box and spend their time in a very fruitful and very nice manner. In the beginning of today's session, I was telling you that in the last part of my video, I will be discussing about the mental health and how to boost happiness in our children. Okay? So one important thing is, ask your children to keep a journal where they can write out whatever has happened throughout the day. Now don't try to read the journals. Let it be a little bit of secret that they have. Don't try to intrude into their privacy. Let them write whatever they feel in their journal. Now writing something out, has a cathartic effect. So if there is something which is not a very good experience, for example, if your child has been scolded by you or something, if the child writes it out, that can be a very relieving activity. It will help in stress management of the child. Second is, as I mentioned before, talk to your children, speak to them. Just don't go around nagging them to do one activity or the other. Remember, they are not going to school now. They are not going to play. They are not having friends in their lives. So who can be a better friend than you? Sit with them, talk to them. Share your own experiences. Listen to their experiences. Don't just give suggestions. Okay? Listen to them. Give them a chance to talk. Now when children feel that no, adults listen to them, only then will they speak out. Otherwise, there will always be a different kind of awkwardness, that you are just asking questions and the child is answering in monosyllables. So give them some space, let them speak their heart out, and don't judge. Don't judge. You don't have to criticize everything your child does, because nobody is perfect. Even we are not perfect. So how can we expect our children to be perfect? Right? So don't judge, don't criticize. Give them an open space where they can ask you anything. and where they can share all their problems with you. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed the session, and if you all have any questions, you can email me. I'll be happy to answer all your questions. Okay, have a very good day all of you, and I hope you can follow all the things that I have mentioned in today's session. Remember them, write them out in a piece of paper, stick it on the wall or someplace where you can see easily, and have a lot of fun with your children during the lockdown. Namaste.